Welcome to another episode of Grind Culture Podcast. I am Ed.
I am Colton.
And we have an interesting topic today. One that I thought was very comical. One that I think a lot of people could relate to.
Yep.
That is an attention grabber for sure. And I think we were trying to be versatile in some of the topics that we're talking about, because we could talk about coffee all day. But I think you and I put our heads together and like, what do people really want to know about coffee?
Yeah.
Or like, what are people asking us? What are people kind of asking themselves on a daily basis? And
Right.
we came up with, or rather you came up with it. And that is why your coffee might suck.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a good question. And it's not only like a funny question, but it's a question that I bet people bring up that are not like in the process of trying to, or they discovered that they are coffee fanatics, and now they're like in the beginning stages of getting into like specialty coffee, or brewing it at home themselves,
Right.
or fascinated with going to coffee shops and the different kind of coffees that coffee shops serve. I think this is the stage that we're reaching out to right now. And the question that they ask is, why does my coffee suck?
Mm-hmm.
And that could be in the form of just having a black coffee, an Americano, a latte art, anything. And so
It can suck in a lot of ways.
yeah. So I kind of ask you just as like a icebreaker.
Yeah.
Did you ever ask yourself that question? Why does my coffee suck? And it just briefly, how did you answer your own question, and how did you fix it?
Well, I guess before I started working here, I didn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Coffee is coffee, you know? It's like, give me the caffeine kick. If it tastes like nasty black, which I didn't drink coffee black a lot, then
Nasty black.
make it good with some sugar and creamer, you know? Like,
Yeah.
that's in my head was what crappy coffee was. Like, if it was just like too, like maybe I just didn't like the taste of coffee because I actually didn't know what it was,
Right.
you know?
Uh-huh.
But come to realize, like, after, you know, developing a palate and learning about coffee, you realize like, oh, there's a quality here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a standard.
Yeah.
Rather than like, you know, a lot of people, they go to the gas station and that's coffee to them.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how it's brewed, like that's
Mm-hmm.
just coffee.
Well, in its genesis, coffee is, in fact, a coffee bean that's crushed up and brewed with
Right.
warm water usually, and that's coffee to people.
Right.
And when I was reading the breakdown, that you kind of like, every now and then we'll have like a little, like, not cheat sheet, but just kind of like a little chapter,
Little pinpoints, yeah.
pinpoints that what we do or what we want to talk about. And the first one made me chuckle.
Yeah.
Do you even care?
Do you even care?
Do you even care? And I think that's the stages. This the stage before what I was kind of referring to, that you're discovering yourself in the coffee world. Before that, I didn't care.
No.
Even in fact, I didn't care about coffee at all,
No.
let alone the taste of coffee. And
Right.
just like you, I masked it with milk, sugar, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. It's like a dessert. It's a drink form of a dessert.
Yeah.
Like a tiramisu. It's like which was my favorite cake. And I was like, this is a tiramisu in liquid form, and I want to drink more of this every day.
Yeah.
This is what people drink. That's cool.
Right.
Lo and behold, that's not how you should drink coffee. Unless, I mean, in my opinion, that's not how you should discover how to drink coffee. That is still a good way to drink coffee as far as like lattes go, but
Right.
I didn't care. But back to the second part of my question, how did you fix it? Like, just briefly, like,
Mm-hmm.
you discovered that you wanted to, you maybe your coffee sucked. You had that epiphany, like, oh wait, there's a lot more to this. Did you just like practice the craft of like
Yeah.
educating yourself, or I mean, just did you educate yourself, or did you practice on your craft, or what did you do?
Well, after figuring out that, you know, coffee is actually, you know, an actual like farmed product, you know, you realize like, okay, then there's different stages of quality. Oh, there's specialty coffee over, you know, very conventional, you know, store-bought coffee. So it's like, all right, so it's like I really challenged myself to develop my palate, you know, and there were so many variables. Like I knew I had good coffee, especially being here. He's like, okay, now I have the access to coffee that I know is good. You know, the farming techniques were good. The everything down the line to how it was roasted was good. And then I really trained myself to brew it good. Because I mean, you can have good coffee all the way down the line. You could roast it well, and then you bring it home, and you could totally like butcher it. You can totally butcher it, and you can have a good cup over a bad cup. Like I could do a pour over, and one could be good, one could be bad, just over a few little variables. Either I ground it too fine, or I ground it too coarse, or my water was too hot. You know, it's like there's so many little variables that go into making a good cup of coffee. So there's like different stages, and the way that I trained myself was, you know, obviously educating myself on what good coffee actually is, learning how it was roasted, know where to get it, know where to buy it. And then from there, you learn how to brew it. And so it's all about education and all about you kind of learn how to love it, you know, and you kind of have to respect it. And like you were saying, do you even care? You kind of do have to start caring if you want to enjoy a good cup of coffee, or at least knowing like what you're drinking every day. Because most people listening probably drink not 1 but 2, 3 cups of coffee a day. So why wouldn't you care about it? You know, it's like, it's not, you don't eat fast food, at least I hope you don't eat fast food like 1 to 3 times a day, you know. It's kind of like I see it on that same level. I want quality out of the stuff that I'm consuming. That's everything. That's coffee, that's food, that's anything, you know. I want good quality. So I know I'm going on a rant, but I guess it's just educating myself.
It's, you bring up a good point. You drink coffee every day. You don't eat like cheeseburgers every day. At least I don't hope you do. I hope you don't. You don't eat certain dishes every day. You might, I mean, I freaking eat like rice every day, but I always try to prep it and cook it to the best of my ability. Why wouldn't you do that with coffee? Something you do drink every day, or most common coffee drinkers drink coffee every day, because not because they like the taste, but also they just adapted it to their everyday lifestyle, kind of like brushing your teeth. Again, at least I hope you brush your teeth every day.
Right.
But yeah, it only makes sense if there is one thing that you're gonna try to educate yourself on, or try to be better at picking good quality substances. It's something that you do every day, or something that you consume every day. It's for your health. It's not only for like taste, it's for your health.
Yeah, because coffee does, we've talked about it before, it does have health benefits. You know, and if that quality doesn't match it, or if that coffee wasn't treated right, or if it's old, or if it's stale, or if it's, you know, been roasted when it had mold on it, you know, and it's just been covered up, and you don't know when the heck or where that coffee even came from, it's like those variables start going away real quick. You know, and it's already so fragile. Like you could take good coffee and totally cover up all the qualities, good qualities, with creamer and milk and sugar and all that stuff, you know. But I'm not trying to like bag on the people that, I guess really this topic isn't really for people that drink their coffee with creamer every day. Because I mean, you can cover up any type of bad coffee with creamer. The creamer is going to overweigh it. You know, no matter how you brew it or where you get it, you're drinking a warm dessert at that point with hints of coffee and getting caffeine out of it. So it's really for like the people that care, again, and for people that want benefits, and people like us, you know. So people in the industry, the coffee industry, I guess.
What do you mean by, just looking at some of our bullet points, caffeine over quality? What do you mean by that?
It's kind of what I just like kind of touched on. People caring about the caffeine over the quality of coffee.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
caring about what coffee actually does, as opposed to like what. Yeah,
what it does for agriculture, what it does for, you know, farmers and everybody in the supply chain, producers, importers, exporters, coffee roasters. You know, who are you really supporting in this? Do you really care about it at all? Or a lot of people would just go to the grocery store. They buy. It's just like buying bananas. Or fruit or whatever, it's like you go, you take it off the shelf, and that is in your pantry. That's one of the things in your pantry. You don't think twice about it. We live in America. It's kind of how it is. I mean, a lot of people, it seems like there is kind of like a shift of people starting to care a little bit more about what they're putting into their bodies and where they're getting it. And so that's kind of cool, like seeing that. But the American way, with even like food or whatever, it's like, it's just, commodity product. It's something that you get, you have, you offer it, and you don't think twice about all the details in it.
You know what I'm thinking? What I'm kind of just like sprang into my mind is there is a lot of transitions into transitional lifestyle changes from our generation to the generation of, let's say, like our parents, right?
Yeah.
Because I think you could attest to this. Growing up, my dad and my mom, though coming from a foreign country, Peru, where there is coffee growth and a lot of coffee production, they drank Folgers.
Sorry, I was looking outside. Someone was pulling up. We're good.
I paused.
Good.
We're good.
We're
Okay.
Yeah. Solid.
My parents drank Folgers, and I didn't really find that odd until like I kind of worked here. I was like, why would my parents drink Folgers the rest of their life?
Right.
Or some monkey. Why would my parents?
Car alarm.
Yeah. Why would my parents drink Folgers when they were so directly close to common coffee farms? Yeah. I didn't get to ask my parents if they drink different coffee in Peru opposed to here, and maybe here they were only able to buy Folgers, and that's why they were kind of forced to. So it's a question that I kind of want to bring up to my parents next time I see them. But yeah, they drink Folgers when I was growing up because we grew up here, and I always thought I'm thinking now that's pretty odd, but it was probably the easiest source of getting coffee.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to say the only source, but grocery stores, I feel like, were such a big thing, and Starbucks wasn't really that prevalent when I was growing up, that I'm almost wondering that like the Nestle brand or the Folgers brand, if they're not together, that was really like the only source of coffee, and that's all they really know. Right. But now our generation is kind of a little bit more knowledgeable of coffee growth, or a little bit more knowledgeable of coffee benefits, like health benefits. That's going to change with our kids, even, that we're going to, like, people want free range chicken eggs, or they want organic meat, or they get their meat from a butchery. I wonder if coffee is going to follow that suit with our generation too.
I feel like it is.
And our kids are only going to drink something better than what we've been drinking.
I hope so. I mean, hopefully it's trending upwards and not downwards. But I think you make a good point, like thinking of our parents. It's like they went to the grocery store and they just took it off the shelf. You didn't have the quality of coffee that we have just sitting on the shelf. You didn't have like fresh roasted coffee that was sourced and had all this tracking and a roasting date on the bag. Like, it wasn't a thing, and it was already pre-ground, easy to use. It wasn't like how it is nowadays, where coffee is like taking off, or it has taken off in the past decade or two, where people are making actually good coffee at home, like espresso, and buying whole bean and buying grinders and having all this different equipment to brew it. It's like, so hopefully our kids, look back on our days and they're like, oh dang, yeah, like they were already starting it, and we took it to the next level.
So you guys didn't have roasters in your house?
You guys are weird.
You guys didn't have a roaster, like a tabletop roaster? It's weird.
Yeah, and think about it. So like even now, it's like if you want fresh, good coffee, you either have to go to like a Whole Foods market, hoping that they have like a good coffee that you like, that's fresh and has a roast date on it, or you have to really seek out a coffee shop that roasts their coffee, or a place like us. You Google it and look up a roaster, and you look into it and see, oh, they're doing it all right. Like, I can go order a fresh bag of coffee.
Yeah, what I enjoy working here is getting that little reminder that we're not alone in our coffee fascination and our eagerness to seek fresh roasted and specialty grade coffee, because again, we're in the space where I work right now, and we get visitors coming in, visitors that pick up orders or visitors that are just interested in our business. But on the every now and then occasion, or I don't want to say rare occasion, but on the occasion where people come in and they come from a different state, like recently, a mother came in and she moved from Colorado, I think, or Boston. I don't remember. She moved from out of state to here, and she was like, we just moved here recently, and I was looking for a coffee roastery, and I Googled roasters in Temecula, and I found you guys, and I wanted to come buy some coffee off of you.
Right.
And it's a cool reminder that we're not the only people doing this as far as coffee roasting and like selling it, like fresh coffee and selling it to the public. It's happening all over the United States.
Right.
It's just like it's boomed, like the microbrew like upbringing.
Yeah.
That it exploded in that way, where I feel like we're in the beginning stages of it. And I think department stores are following suit. I think there's a lot more coffee grinders being sold, more so than there ever was. There's a lot more espresso machines, definitively more espresso machines on shelves that you could buy. Yeah. I thinking about Target or Walmart, or just like Sur La Table, like that big kitchen store out here. Yeah. Different like espresso equipment, drip equipment. There's like, you can find all that stuff almost in the department store nowadays, that I think it's just becoming so like natural for not only at home, but like if you want to start a coffee business, it's really easy. Not really easy, but it's easier to do so than it was ever before.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, and I think too, like, how can I say it? I lost my train of thought, actually.
Well, I was thinking of also, this is like, I don't want to make this a reoccurring thing, but this is going to be a reoccurring thing for as long as we have our podcasts. And it's the shit on Starbucks hour. And what I mean by that is, though, again, I'm going to give them credit in a little bit, but Starbucks, I feel like, is the equivalent of what Folgers was as far as getting your coffee off the shelf. Starbucks, from my perception and my understanding, aren't supplying quality coffee, quality beans in their drinks, and you could tell by the taste. Like we mentioned before, Starbucks has a very unique taste. Right. But their marketing here recently, I think they caught on to that, because their marketing seems like they're trying to reverse back to like
what they started. Because they did start the trend up, from the Folgers stuff. Yeah.
It seems like they're trying to retract and say, we got to go back to our roots, kind of, and like, we got to remember we're like a fresh coffee roaster, and we do this, we do like the due diligence of a coffee craft, of like a small town coffee shop.
Yeah, but I mean they're so rich that they can market however they want, to get the attention back on them. Yeah, because no one's ever gonna really hate Starbucks. Starbucks knows they hold the power, and they know people are addicted more to the sugary dairy drinks that they serve rather than the actual coffee that they serve.
Yeah. They're every now, or when I'm looking at a video up on the internet, whether it's like a podcast or just something like sports related, I noticed that Starbucks has commercials now, and they kind of give themselves like that small coffee shop ambiance. Yeah. They like very tight shots on espresso machines, being
like at home.
Yeah, like at home, being poured, and like, it's smart on them to do that. Right. But that doesn't mean they're still using bad quality coffee. Right. And this is something that I wanted to bring attention to, because that's also why your coffee might suck. Yeah. is because you're being tricked into thinking that your coffee is actually good. And this is
Yeah.
directed at like just stores that are selling you like already brewed coffee.
Right.
If you have any kind of knowledge on like what coffee should taste like, and then you get a coffee from a coffee shop, not only Starbucks but any coffee shop, it's probably because they're not giving you quality coffee.
Right.
Maybe part of it's other things that we discussed, but
Like you've even said yourself, you know, you and Lindsay have stopped by Starbucks before, you know, because that was your option.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually taste now like the quality behind, like even under the milk and sugar, like you can taste the crappy coffee under there.
yeah.
Like there's no, like once you experience good coffee and you go back, you really like, oh, this is trash.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is absolute trash.
Mm-hmm.
Like even Brittany, you know, it's like my wife Brittany, for anybody that doesn't know, I make her lattes all the time. You know, I make her coffee every day, you know, and then she goes other places and she's like, oh, like it's not a good cup of coffee. Like she doesn't enjoy herself, like
Yeah.
where she used to like really love Starbucks, love those places. And I've kind of ruined that for her, sorry, but you know,
That's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was going to say when I lost my train of thought was, I think social media, one good thing social media has done for coffee too, is kind of bring this all to light. You know, because you got a lot of influencers, you got a lot of coffee accounts, you got a lot of coffee influencers, you know, actually like explaining kind of what we're explaining. They may not like really get the full aspect of it because they're not in coffee like we are,
Mm-hmm.
but at least they're kind of like breaking that barrier and making people aware like coffee's actually, you know, a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and usually when you see those people, they're using like some type of roaster
Mhm.
outside of like your generic brands. So that's
Mhm.
kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are other people that buy our green coffee,
Mhm.
and that always surprises me too, because people are actually, I was kind of kidding around when I said like our kids will have like roasters at home, but people are doing it,
Yeah, there is home roasters for sure.
and people come in and buy our green coffee and
Mm-hmm.
they roast at home. I was thinking, is as far as like pricing goes, is that more beneficial, you think, for your wallet to buy green coffee and roast it at home?
I don't know. I think if you invest in it and you find a good green supplier, then yeah, I think it's pretty beneficial for people.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just depends on what kind of roaster you buy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you have a small, easy one that, you know, doesn't cause a lot of smoke and, you know, you can just plug in real quick. And I mean, it is cheaper to buy green coffee. You get more for your buck, you know, because you're buying, say, even if, you know, coffee right now, the highest it's ever been, say, I don't know, you buy a pound for $6 rather than an already roasted bag of roasted coffee for $30. You know, it's like, yeah, it's kind of worth the investment.
That's true. I didn't even really think about that, but
Yeah.
just you simplifying it that way, that's a lot of money you can
Yeah, 'cause
save.
a roaster has to make profit. Like we got to make profit off our product, right?
Yeah.
You put in the work to do it. You bought the roastery. You roasted it. You did all the stuff. So obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of like home cooking. You know, you could go out to eat every night and realize like, oh, this is very expensive.
Mhm.
Or you can go shopping. You can bring your food home
Mm-hmm.
and you can prepare your own meals.
Yeah.
Save you a ton of money in the end.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Even if, you know, you have to go buy a barbecue or you have to go buy an oven or whatever it may be, in the long run, you do end up saving money.
Yeah.
But you got to learn to craft, and coffee's kind of a lot harder than cooking, you know, so.
Yeah. It's kind of just like eating out too.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? So we bought a pizza maker, which I
Uh-huh.
recently had to get rid of because I have bad luck with pizza makers, or
Right.
pizza ovens rather.
Okay.
And you buy all the ingredients at Trader Joe's if you're not from California or from the West. I mean, they're everywhere nowadays. I saw them in Chicago. Trader Joe's is a grocery store if nobody knows. They have like an easy kit for you. Not a kit, but like they have the dough.
Uh-huh.
They have like pizza sauce. They have pepperoni,
Yeah.
veggies, whatever. And that could all cost you for like $10 or less, so long that you have a way of making it at home. And you don't need a pizza oven. You can just use your oven.
Put in the oven, yeah.
But we went to go eat pizza at a pretty good pizza place here nearby,
Right.
and it was like $60 for a pizza. It's
Dang.
just, yeah, it's just like, it's crazy. And that's with food, and that's even like with making your coffee at home.
Uh-huh.
Like you go to a coffee shop and it costs like $8 to $10 for a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
depending on what you get, where it'd be equivalent of like $3, $2 at home.
Right.
It's crazy.
Less
but
than that.
yeah. Speaking of that, one of the places that I went to, I want to shout out Steady State. Steady State recently opened, or they're supplying coffee to a coffee shop here. Speaking of like good coffee, Steady State, Carlsbad, where I grew up, it was like really like the first stages of me enjoying like quality coffee.
Right.
They made it to Temecula, and I was really you told me about it, and I was really excited about it, and I went to go try it, and coffee was good, but still like the coffee shop experience, it's been a little disappointing for me, which is, it's sad, it sucks, because like most people, they want to go away and they want to get communal and they want to be surrounded by people that are near them and enjoy a cup of coffee. But a good cup of coffee could also come with like negative ways of like you not enjoying your cup of coffee, and that's just by the ambiance surrounded by you.
Right.
So I that was a kind of like a thing I wanted to bring up as far as like why your coffee might suck. The experience might make it crappy too.
Yeah.
So again, just like a little another PSA of like, I encourage you to make your own coffee at home because it's so worth it.
Yeah.
But
Because you can guarantee what you're going to get.
yeah.
I mean, you might butcher a shot or whatever, but.
But I love Steady State. I never want to talk about them or anything. Not that I am.
It's not Steady State. They didn't open up a location.
No.
It's just they're supplying beans
Yeah, to the specific
to
location.
a specific location now. A restaurant. It's more of a restaurant. So
I don't know what they're
who
trying to
knows?
be.
Bakery, restaurant, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know what they're trying to do, but
hopefully they dial it in.
hopefully.
Yeah.
That's a good,
Because they have potential.
Yeah. You also put bad farming on your bullet points. What do you mean by bad farming?
I think if you had bad farming practices, as in you have a bad farmer that doesn't have a good product, if they're picking, first of all, if they're growing bad coffee, the wrong plants, or just a varietal that doesn't have like a good profile to it, it already is, set up for failure. And people like me and you who look for good coffees, like, we're not going to enjoy that type of coffee. So it might suck there. Or they could be growing a good coffee and they could pick it when it's not ripe. There's that. They could process it incorrectly. They could do all the things that aren't good, and the taste won't be as good. So farmer really has to know what they're doing. I feel like for the most part they do. Which is great. But you do have some farms that are bigger, larger scale. They just got to produce coffee like crazy and crank it out. And, that is the store coffee. Who knows what has happened like to that coffee and how it was grown and how it was shipped and how it was roasted. And that goes back to our original statement. Who even cares? Do they even care? Because it's really just dollar signs at that point. So does the farmer care? Does the buyers care? Does the person consuming it even care? Because they know really all this stuff that we're talking about gets overlooked. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, that's a good point. There was also like a balancing act that I think people need to do about like caring or not caring. I always think you should care, but to what end should you care? Like, I agree with everything you're saying. Like bad farming, you obviously want to make sure that you're picking good farms, like fair practice farming, making sure there's fair wages being produced to these farmers and so on and so forth. But like, you ask the question, do you even care? And I want to ask the question, should you care? Like, to what end should you care? And it's tough, because if everybody started caring about where their coffee is coming from, I really hate to say this, but I do feel it. I want to be genuine. Like, and I think like this with like a lot of things other than just like coffee.
Right.
Sometimes you got to take things for what they are.
Yeah.
Because if you start caring too much about every little thing, it will drive you nuts.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you can take things too far.
Yeah, you take things too
Mm-hmm.
far. Not, and this is a very minor case of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see it. I do see it like kind of popping up every now and then in the coffee world. Is like each bean needs to be perfect, and this has to have this taste. And I kind of saw a little bit.
yeah.
I saw a little bit
Yeah,
of that when we went cupping.
Like, this ain't competition here.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
there is competition coffee, you know, like there is that.
Right.
avenue,
And I
but-
do hope, like, I'm not negating the fact that I do hope that people are at least making the effort of like hopefully researching like coffee farms and fair wage practices, and like making sure that these farmers get paid
Mhm.
well and like are treated well, and then that translates into like the quality of your coffee.
Yeah.
But life is too short. Life moves way too fast for you to like really pinpoint everything. You just gotta maybe hope that the coffee that you're getting from whoever you're getting it from, whether it's coffee shop or from us or from like any other roaster,
Yeah.
they're practicing it. If they're preaching it, hopefully that's actually true.
Yeah.
We know on our end it's true,
Right.
and we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff because I think we're safe in that regard. But like, maybe hopefully you go out of your way just to making sure that like it's somewhere advertised, but don't like do maybe like try not to deep dive into it too much, or else it might drive you nuts about like where your coffee is coming from.
Right.
I do think again, I don't want to like take away from what you're saying, is like it's important to know where your coffee's from, because I do think that's extremely important. And we have the luxury of not having to worry about that.
Right.
But at the same time, like don't take it too far.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
Don't be a
still
stinker
try to
about it.
seek out your cup of coffee, and we want you to drink coffee, and we just hope that it's good coffee.
Yeah. I guess I just see it like me personally, like if I have people over, right? Like, and I cook you food, I want to cook you a good meal.
Yeah.
And I want that meal to be good for you. I don't want to make you sick, you know, and I want it to be like, ah, dang, like this is so good.
Yeah.
You know, I think the same thing with coffee. I want people to come, I want to give them a cup of coffee, and I don't want them to have to add creamer to it and be like, oh, this is really good, because they're really just saying it's good because the creamer's in it. Like, oh yeah, of course it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Like, I want to give somebody a black cup of coffee, and sure, if they're not into it, yeah, but even if, like, I want the black cup of coffee to be really good tasting, but like if I have to make them a latte or something, then I want them to think, oh dang, there's something different here. Like, I'm not here to cover up a bad product. Like, I want you to enjoy it. Like, that's always my goal. I want to make you the best cup of coffee you've ever had. You know, so, and I know it's cool. You can see, like, people when they actually try it, it's like, oh dang,
Yeah.
this is good.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I just, like, personally, it feels good. Yes, doing all the things, supporting farmers and making sure you're getting it right, make sure they did all the things right, making sure you're supporting a really cool roaster, like, that, you know, puts thought and love into their craft, you know, and really, like, is on top of their game, and you know that you're supporting everything on down the line. That's all cool. Like, that's just, like, morally, like, it feels great, you know. So I don't know, I feel the same way. I just think the taste should, like, be there. I think it should be good, so I think people should seek it out. If anything, like, have a roast date on the bag, or at least just know when it was roasted.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's huge.
That's probably like the safest way to start your journey, or like not to start a journey, but like assure that you're getting like fresh coffee is the roast date.
Yeah.
And we've seen it that where people don't put, well, I don't know, maybe I haven't seen it. Do you like run into like coffee shops or like coffee like bags that don't promote like roast date?
Sometimes, and which is fine. Like, I think sometimes you just know, have it be like the company's values, knowing where they work. I think there's things that just line up, and you're like, there's no way this coffee is old.
Yeah.
You know, if like we go to certain coffee shops, we know that the bag sitting on their shelf is probably pretty dang fresh.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm talking fresh within like a month or two, like even 2. Some people would consider 2 is too old, but like for me, I still consider that way better than anything you can find in like your general market, you know. So unless you're at Whole Foods or something like that, but even Whole Foods is kind of like
Yeah.
it's getting there. It's getting kind of old. So there's that.
The less amount of steps you can take from buying a coffee from where it's roasted is better.
Right.
Meaning, like, buy from a roastery, like some of the people that come and walk in do.
Yeah, you bought it direct. Yeah.
If you buy it on a shelf from a store, it's most likely going to be older
little
coffee, right?
Yeah. So maybe a good sign would be like, oh, this is local.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe it got there sooner.
Yeah, look for like the roast to order, kind of like what we advertise, roast to order, just like freshly roasted signs. And then again, you just hope that that's actually true, that people are abiding by what they're advertising.
Right.
Is there, and also I wanted to mention, like, I don't hope, but the easiest way for me to tell now if it's fresh roasted coffee or not is just by the smell of the coffee itself.
Yeah.
So I use for like marketing, sometimes if somebody doesn't give me like a live order, I'll use like dummy coffee, meaning it's just like prop coffee, I guess, right? If I need to like just to pour some like just for a photo shoot.
Yeah.
And it has a different pungent smell than fresh roasted coffee.
Yeah.
It's like almost like a stale, like sour smell to it.
Yeah, there's a funky smell.
Yeah, it's kind of like meat. Like, you know, when meat's like a little older, not like good, it has that very pungent, like odorific smell.
Yeah. Right.
Coffee has that too. So if you open up a bag of coffee and you've kind of like, it's like this sour, like this very pungenty smell, it's probably old.
Yeah.
It is a very distinct smell. Like, I smell it often just when I'm doing like dummy product photos.
Right.
But I wish people would like understand that, because I know I'm
stale, like dry.
I'm sure people know like the smell of like meat when I'm referring to it when it's like bad. It has like that very like really punches you or like stings you in the nose, you know.
Yeah.
Coffee, it is not that bad, but you do get that like sensation when you smell old coffee.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think dark roast coffee sucks?
Do I think dark roast coffee sucks? No, because recently, so I think I told you this, I was using blonde roast a lot in my espresso machine. I guess there's variables to it. I was using blonde roast for the longest time, and I took some Honduras home, which is, I think, a medium dark roasted coffee that I have.
Okay, so I'm talking dark.
Well, yeah.
Past second crack.
Well, yes, probably, because I used to buy Illy for my espresso machine when we first bought the espresso machine. And again, I always thought that was good coffee. Or I always thought, like, for some reason, and this could be just directed by cultural significance or just like cultural upbringing, I always thought espresso was like more affiliated to like European countries.
Okay, yep.
Which is why maybe I'm thinking now that our darker roasts are called like Italian and French. But I always thought that was like a European thing to like to drink an espresso drink.
Yeah, and it's most likely dark.
And it is always usually
very
dark.
Italian. Like people see, if you see it on a bag, like Italian roasted or French roast, like that usually means it's a really dark, bold coffee.
Yeah. And I used to go to this place called Italy in Chicago. And it was like a double story like Italian market / Italian coffee shop, where like if they kind of try to give it that ambiance, and they had Illy, and that was like what I used to drink when we went to Chicago to visit the city, and I got my tiramisu, because I'd really like tiramisu, and I got an espresso shot, and it was always dark roast, and I thought that's what dark roast espresso was supposed to taste like.
Right.
Or I thought that was just espresso was supposed to taste like a dark roast. Thinking, I was like so naive, I was like, no, you can't use like light roast coffee to make espresso.
Yeah.
So do I think it sucks? Now, I didn't always used to, and this goes back to, you even care? Like, I always just thought that was supposed to taste like, and I was like there I was there for like the experience, right? And like I wanted to feel like I was Italian or like in France or something.
Yeah.
But it's I don't want to say it sucks. I want to say that I don't think that you should regulate yourself in thinking that dark coffee is the only way that coffee needs to be consumed, or this is where that's where you get the most caffeine, or that's the only kind of espresso type of dark roast or roast that you should drink. I think there's better coffee for sure than dark roast. I encourage you to drink other lighter roast coffee, medium roast coffee, to really bring out true flavor of coffee. But I don't think it sucks. I think there's better coffee out there.
Right. I'm kind of getting like, do you think that the quality of coffee that you get, you think people would actually burn it? Like that's kind of what holds me back from saying that dark coffee is good most of the time.
Yeah.
Because sure, you might like the flavor, but I mean, normally a roaster, like a good roaster, wouldn't take good quality coffee that they spent all this money in and take it dark. It's just not what I think.
Yeah.
Usually your darker roasted coffee are more of the crappy coffees that we're talking about.
Right.
Because you can burn it. Right.
It masks a lot of the imperfections that you would do to a coffee.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with that. I think if you're trying to, like I said, mask some of the imperfections of coffee whether it comes green or your roasting capabilities, the darker you roast it, the more you're gonna be able to like hide those defects.
Right.
So yeah, I guess in that way it does suck that it kind of deters you from perfecting a good tasting coffee. People do they swear by our 6-bean though, which is a dark roasted bean. They swear by our Bali.
But if you think about it, it's made with like I'm saying, our dark roasts are made with really good quality.
Yeah.
Cups of coffee, and that's hard to find.
Yeah.
So like that goes back to the traceability. Okay, I had somebody email me the other day, hey, what's actually in your guys' 6-bean espresso roast? Like, what's actually in it? So I gave them the ratios and said, this is like what we use. We use really good Central American coffees and South American coffees, and then we came up with a really good blend. Still, it's like all of our good single origins that we took and just made a blend out of it, rather than going around our good single origins and buying crappy coffee and then using that to make espresso, a roast out of it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that are doing that, sadly.
Yeah.
Because, yes, you can burn it and you're going to have the same profile. You know what I mean? Like, you can take really any coffee, burn it, and that's kind of like the profile you're stuck with. So,
yeah,
that's
true.
why I say, personally, it sucks.
Yeah. No, that's fair, and that's a fair assessment, and there's a lot of truth to that.
And I don't, no matter what coffee you're using, I don't enjoy the taste. I just don't enjoy the taste of a burnt.
There's a gentleman that came in looking for dark roasted coffee. This reminds me of that story. This very quick. There's a gentleman that came in looking for dark roasted coffee, and he always went to Pete's Coffee, and there was like this coffee that's called General something, or it's like their best known coffee, and it's a dark roast. It's burnt
Extra
coffee.
burnt, yeah.
And I think, like I said, that generation just got so they got like tricked into thinking that dark roast coffee is good coffee, and then anything else under that is bad coffee.
Bro,
like to them,
yeah.
light roast coffee sucks. And I think it's just like there's perception of your surrounding and your upbringing, because this guy was so diligent about like, I want this General Pete's coffee or whatever. I want one that tastes just like this. And so I directed him to our 6-bean. I was like, this is probably our best dark roasted coffee. He's like, oh, good, because light roast coffee sucks.
Yeah.
So I think it's just perception, or just like your upbringing, your experience on whether what coffee you like or dislike. I don't want to like, and it's weird that I'm saying this, because this kind of goes back full circle to my disagreement with Hasia when saying like, why do you care what people think about the taste of the coffee? If they like it and it's being sold, all the power to them, right? And this is very hypocritical of me, but I now think that like if an old gentleman wants to come in and buy one of our dark roasts because they hate light roasts, I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to sell it to them, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Hasia was saying, is like, if people like certain things, they like their coffee tastes like watermelon, or they like to mix it with different juices, coffee juices, more power to them.
Right.
So now you kind of shed a light on that to me for a little bit. Maybe just let people drink what the heck they want to drink, you know?
Yeah, because we'll say it again. Do you even care?
Yeah. Do we even care?
Do you give even a crap?
Yeah.
I mean, people probably watch this 20 seconds and they're already out.
Yeah.
And they're on to the next
And
one.
I hope not, because it gets good at the end.
It gets good. I promise.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, like well, first let me say this. I've never met somebody that says, I drink dark roast coffee black, and I freaking love it. Like, oh my gosh, this tastes so good. Like, they don't freak out like me when I drink a light roast. I'm like, gosh, man, it tastes so good, like fruity, like balanced. And it's like, I've never met someone until I do. Like, hey, put it in the chat if you're like one of those people, because like I want to know.
Yeah, that guy next time he comes in, I'll be like, Colton, he's here.
Then I'll ask him, how do you drink your coffee? He'll be like, oh yeah, I put,
Yeah. I wonder if he did
that
like
French vanilla coffee mate in there. It's delicious.
I did ask him to let me know how it is.
Yeah.
He'll come back, I think. Usually they all do.
They come back.
They always come back for ours. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good way to end it, is, do people even care? And I still think we have like a due diligence of not educating. I mean, we're still learning ourselves.
Right.
I think we have a responsibility of expressing what we learn, especially if we're starting a podcast around coffee, what we learn to the public, whoever decides to listen. But we don't expect you to care. We don't expect you to take all of our advice.
Nope.
We just hope that you listen and you have different insight, or you learn different insight about other people and the way that they drink coffee, and then maybe you'll take some of that, maybe you won't, but all we want from you is just to enjoy our banter and enjoy a cup of coffee, and
get the best out of you.
Get the best
for your money.
Yeah.
Get the best money can buy.
So, that being said, why your coffee might suck. Those are all the ways why your coffee might suck.
Just a few little reasons why your coffee might suck.
Yeah.
So drink better coffee. Seek out good coffee. Hit all the points. Start enjoying it a lot more. Maybe you'll drink coffee black one day if you're not a person that drinks black coffee.
Yeah, I did. I mean, it's never too late.
Yep.
However young or how old you are.
Yeah.
Try
and
it.
when you go somewhere and people have dark roasts, you can enjoy it how you like how you used to.
Yeah. Well, that's today's episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment. Reach out to us in any way that you would like.
Yeah.
Peace.
Later.